Hello everyone, and as always, welcome back to my channel. Or if it's your first time, welcome to my channel. My name is Marlene and I talk about eating disorder recovery and everything related to healing the relationship with your own body, with food, and with movement. And as you can see in the title of the video, I want to talk about the scale, weight, and everything connected to it. And the reason why is that I recently weighed myself for the first time in nearly 2 years, and I want to talk about that experience. As always, I will not mention any numbers, I will not mention any BMIs, anything like this. I just want to talk more about the meaning that we connect to the number. So for those of you who are new here, I had an eating disorder for a very long time. I am fully recovered for several years now, and I'm working with people in eating disorder recovery. So you might wonder, why did you not weigh yourself in such a long time? I live in the US. I'm originally from Germany. In Germany, you do not get weighed every time you go to the doctor. In the US, this is a thing. And when I first moved here and I was still in the late stages of my recovery, I always refused to be weighed because I knew that I was still very vulnerable. And I also honestly did it out of protest because I was like, I'm here for something completely different. You really do not need to know my weight. And so this kind of became a thing that I just always refused to be weighed, again, mainly because I also just didn't really see the sense in it. At the same time, of course, in the beginning stages of my recovery and then also later in my recovery, the scale was just something that I completely kicked out. In my recovery overall, I did not want to weigh myself because I knew it's not going to be okay. Every time I'm gaining weight, which I'm supposed to in my recovery, or rather I'm supposed to let go of that number and of the meaning that I'm giving that number, but I still knew, okay, I'm still in recovery, so this is not going to be helpful. And then again, in the late stages of my recovery, when I moved here, I just continued doing that. And over time, honestly, it was not even a thought anymore. It was nothing that I ever thought of. If there had been a situation before where I would have been weighed, I would have been fine. But I also wasn't really interested in anymore. It was just something that didn't say anything about me, about myself. And so I was like, I'm not really interested in that number because in the end, it doesn't matter. Now, recently, I had some health issues and I'm working through them. And so it was necessary for my doctor to know my weight. So I decided to weigh myself. I personally do not have a scale, but I was house sitting at a friend's house who has a scale. So I decided to weigh myself. And I do want to be fully transparent because if you had such a intense relationship with the scale for such a long time, and most probably everyone who's watching this knows that because the majority of people who are watching are people who struggle with an eating disorder or with disordered eating themselves. And for many, many people that is attached to the scale, not for everyone, I'm very aware of that. But for a lot of people, their weight and the number on the scale has a very big meaning and a very big impact on how they feel about themselves. So if you've had that relationship for such a long time, and then you completely stopped it, stepping on the scale for the first time is a weird feeling. And I'm not saying this because I relapsed or anything like this, but I'm saying it because it just brought up memories from the time where the scale was holding so much more meaning than it does now. So I stepped on the scale, I saw the number, and it was a very weird situation because there was a part of me that remembered all those emotions that I used to have and the meaning that I had attached to a number when I was younger. And I also remembered that looking at the scale always had an impact on how I felt that day, whether it was a good day or a bad day. So all these memories came up while I was seeing that number and didn't really know what to do with it because, again, I'm not really attaching anything to the number anymore. It was just a number, and it was such a weird feeling because you remember all those things, but in the moment you don't really have any emotions. And that was such a powerful moment to me because it just made me cherish recovery even more. It made me just be so grateful. And during that day, that moment just came up several times, but it was not the number that came up. It was the moment that came up. And it was a very emotional day. I have to be honest. I know it probably sounds cheesy for some of y'all, but it was an emotional day because it just showed me that I attached so much meaning and so much value and so many emotions to a number for over a third of my life, for nearly half of my life, when it's just so easy. And when I could just step on the scale and see the number and go on with my day. And I'm not saying all of this because I want to brag about it. I want to tell you, oh, look how far I've come. I want to tell you all of that because I know how impossible it feels to ever see that number as something more neutral. So yeah, I know what it feels like when it feels impossible to ever not care about that number so much, to step on the scale and not have your whole day dictated by what the scale says, to not step on the scale and either be super proud or super devastated. I definitely know what it feels like and how impossible it feels like and how so many people ask themselves all the time, is this even possible for me? Probably not. It's not going to be possible for me. And I want you to know that I was one of those people and that now years later, it actually is possible. And I really hope this gives you guys some hope. And maybe it also helps you to see the number a little bit differently, even though I'm aware that when the eating disorder is still very active, it's going to be very hard to detach from that number. But I do want you to know that it is possible. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.